Hello, welcome to SalivaCast, the podcast where we explore the cutting edge of salivary diagnostics and how it's transforming our clinical practices. I am your host, Dr. Deborah Haller. I am a dentist, I am a scientist, I am a university professor, I am the founder of Saliva Pro Hub and Saliva Pro Sports, and I'm thrilled to dive into a fascinating topic today: innovations in salivary testing. Saliva has long been an overlooked diagnostic tool, but recent advancements are proving that it holds incredible potential. In this episode of SalivaCast, I will be sharing with you how salivary diagnostics is revolutionizing clinical care and helping us address not just oral health, but systemic health challenges too. From assessing oral health to detecting systemic diseases, these salivary based tests are empowering us clinicians with actionable insights, whether it's profiling the oral microbiome of our patient, screening for cancer, or monitoring inflammation and hormones. Saliva is becoming a cornerstone of modern diagnostics in dentistry. And today, I am really excited to talk more about this. So, let's start with the basics. Why saliva? That's an easy question, right? Saliva is a treasure of biological information. It contains hormones, enzymes, antibodies, proteins, and even genetic material like DNA and RNA. What makes it truly remarkable? It is the most non invasive body fluid. Its accessibility, no needles, no discomfort, no pain, just a simple, non invasive collection process that our patient can do in our dental clinic, in their home, at their university, at their workplace, anywhere. And it allows for self collection. The patient can do the saliva test themselves. Well, in recent years, salivary testing has evolved far beyond what we could have imagined. For example, salivary microRNAs are now being used to detect complex conditions like endometriosis through, for example, the Z-Week endotest. Similarly, tests like Cancer Detect use saliva to screen for cancer at its earliest stages, offering a powerful tool for prevention and early intervention. These advancements, they highlight a shift. Saliva is no longer just about oral health, and that would have been enough, but it's a systemic diagnostic tool as well. Well, let's talk about the technology. What's driving this transformation and these advancements? Innovations like next generation sequencing, NGS, and biosensors. That's right, my fellow dentists. iTooth is soon a reality. Biosensors and these innovations like NGS have made it possible to detect biomarkers with unprecedented precision. These tools are making salivary diagnostics faster, more accurate, and more affordable. Another exciting development is the integration of AI, artificial intelligence. AI can analyze vast amounts of salivary data, identifying patterns and correlations that would take us humans years to discover. And this not only speeds up the diagnosis process, but also personalizes, individualizes the care for each patient. So you must be excited by what I have told you so far, but I am sure you're also asking me this, how to bring all this information to my clinical practice, how to integrate this in my clinical world. Well, dentists, us dentists, and in fact, not only us dentists, but all healthcare professionals, we can now integrate salivary testing seamlessly into our daily clinical practice. Imagine with me conducting a simple saliva test chairside to assess a patient's risk for periodontal disease, for instance, or monitoring stress hormones through saliva, or even more, screen for systemic conditions through a saliva test in your daily clinical routine, in your daily clinical practice, in your dental clinic, in your dental office. Yes, dentist, I am here to tell you that this is not solely a dream anymore. This is the reality in many practices around the world, and it can also be a reality in your dental practice. At my own clinic here in São Paulo, Brazil, we've embraced these technologies to provide our patients with personalized, individualized care, with better care. For example, we have an advanced salivary diagnostics program in our dental practice. We evaluate salivary clinical parameters such as saliva flow rate, salivary pH levels, and we also use the molecular salivary analysis, such as the microbiome test, for instance, in order to tailor, to individualize, to tailor our treatment plans that address each of our patients' needs. It is incredible how these insights brought to us by saliva testing, saliva diagnostics, by incorporating saliva testing in our daily clinical practice has enhanced both prevention and treatment approaches in our daily clinical practices and enhancing, therefore, the care. We are able to give better and individualized care to all our patients. Well, let me give you examples, okay? Let me tell you in the real day-to-day dental practice, what is it that we are doing? What is it that you can start doing? So let's start with the one of the most common applications, oral microbiome testing. This is not a dream anymore. This is a reality. There is companies that offer oral microbiome, salivary microbiome tests here in Brazil. I know there are companies in the US. I know there are companies in Asia. I know there are companies in Europe. So the chances are you have access to oral microbiome tests in the country that you are right now. We all know as dentists that the oral microbiome plays a critical and crucial role in maintaining oral and systemic health. Imbalances in this microbial ecosystem are linked to conditions like caries, periodontal disease, and even cardiovascular diseases. In our clinical practice, oral microbiome test allows us to identify those bacterial imbalances and to tailor treatment accordingly. Let me tell you that the more we use this test and the more we incorporate AI to analyze the microbiome test results, we are facing a game changer. These tests are a game changer in moving from reactive to preventive care. Dentists, this is a new and updated take on prevention. So, talking about prevention, let's go from oral health to systemic health. And let's also talk about cancer detection. Next, let's talk about cancer detection through saliva tests. One of the most groundbreaking developments in salivary diagnostics is the ability to screen for cancer using saliva. We have a test that it's already available in North America. This is the cancer detect test, for example. It uses saliva to identify biomarkers that are associated with early stages of cancer, specifically oral and throat cancer. This test offers a non-invasive, accurate, and patient-friendly, because it's saliva-based, alternative to traditional diagnostics methods. This comes to enhance our diagnostics ability. This cancer detect test, for example, it brings early detection, which it's critical in improving survival rates, and salivary tests are making it easier for us clinicians to integrate cancer screening into our routine care. Another exciting innovation area is the area of hormone and inflammation monitoring through saliva for athletes and patients with chronic conditions. Salivary hormone tests can provide insights into stress levels, recovery, overall health. For example, our own startup, Saliva Pro Sports, there we have been using salivary cortisol and testosterone monitoring to help athletes optimize their training and avoid overtraining injuries. Inflammatory markers such as salivary cytokines are also being used to monitor systemic inflammation, giving us a window into conditions like autoimmune diseases and even metabolic syndrome. So let's go back from the molecular to the clinical tests. Let's discuss salivary pH test. Let's discuss salivary flow rate tests, which remain up to this date and are more and more actually essential tools in dental practice. Dentists nowadays, not to conduct a saliva test in your daily clinical practice is negligence, okay? Every dentist in the world, we must do saliva tests. So how do you start? Start with the basics. Start with saliva flow rate and salivary pH. Let me tell you how we have been doing this. So salivary pH test, it helps us to evaluate the risk of caries, for instance, and tooth wear, dental erosion, by identifying patients with consistently low pH levels. Salivary flow rate tests, both stimulated and unstimulated salivary flow rate, are crucial for diagnosing salivary gland hypofunction and xerostomia. These tests, they allow us to customize preventive and therapeutic strategies, especially for patients with dry mouth due to, for instance, medications or systemic conditions like Sjogren's syndrome. So, dentists, the time is now, I have no doubt. And it's not by chance. I don't believe in chance, and the word coincidence, it's simply not in my vocabulary. So I do believe everything is meant to be. So it's meant to be that you tune into this saliva cast today. So it's also meant to be you start bringing the saliva tests that are simple and easy to conduct in your daily clinical practice, such as saliva flow rate measurements, and to incorporate this into your daily clinical routine. And if you're a patient and you connected to Saliva Cast, please do go ahead and ask your dentist for this test. The versatility of salivary diagnostics doesn't end there. It has much more. We can also use saliva testing for viral infections. We saw firsthand the utility of saliva testing, for example, for COVID-19 diagnostics. There is a research paper we published in the Journal of Research right in the beginning of the pandemic, showing the utility and the potential of using saliva as a diagnostic tool for both diagnosing and monitoring patients with COVID-19. So this is a reality. We have shown how interesting it is to use saliva as a diagnostic tool. And we also have more and more technologies being developed, such as liquid biopsy for genetic mutation. And there's a lot of research to incorporate AI and to incorporate saliva tests to biosensors and to also wearable data. So stay tuned because the future is now. Saliva truly is the diagnostic saliva truly is the diagnostic fluid of the future, but it also the fluid of now, of the present. These tests, dentists, are already being used in clinics around the world. I use it in my dental clinic. Every Saliva Pro dentist use at their dental clinic, both in Brazil and around the globe. And their accessibility and easy of use is making them a preferred option for both clinicians and patients. As a clinician, I have seen firsthand how salivary diagnostics can transform patient care. And I do invite you today to join me to bring this saliva test, to incorporate this saliva diagnostics tests in our daily clinical practice. I hope this episode has given you a clear picture of the current tools available for saliva tests. If you found this episode insightful, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, Saliva Cast, and to also send this episode to a colleague, to a fellow dentist, or even to your patients. Let's continue to explore together how saliva testing can bring precision and prevention to every clinic around the world. As a look to the future, the possibilities, dentists, are endless. From real-time saliva monitoring devices to widespread integration of AI, the field is really here ready to transform how we dentists approach diagnostics and care. My mission and the mission of Saliva Pro Hub is to ensure that every clinician, every dentist in the world has access to these tools and the knowledge to use them effectively, to use them in an efficient and science evidence-based way. Salivary testing isn't just the future, dentists. By now, you have realized this as well. It is the present and it is changing our everyday clinical practices and it's changing lives every day. Well, dentists, I see you at the next SalivaCast episode. This is Dr. Deborah Heller reminding you to stay curious and innovative in your practice, embracing the power of saliva. Please remember to save our podcast, SalivaCast, to your favorite podcast list. I also invite you to join my YouTube channel, Dr. Deborah Heller on YouTube. Many of you may be watching me live from YouTube and my Instagram's account. I am Dr. Deborah Heller on Instagram, and I also have an older and more active, I would put this way, account that the name is actually in Portuguese. It's called The Dental Scientist, a Dentista Cientista on Instagram. I look forward to connecting to you and together bringing salivary tests to our daily clinical routine, and this way bringing even more health to all our patients. A pleasure as always. I hope we all have a wonderful and blessed week.